So welcome to the Mentorship series from Student Success and CMAS, where we talk to first-generation alumni in a wide variety of professional settings across campus about mentorship, what it means, how to find it, and what role it has played in their lives. Today, we are talking to Annette Vadnais, who most of you probably know as the purple-haired librarian. Welcome, Annette. Thank you for meeting with us today. Can I ask you to introduce yourself and your role on campus?
My name is Annette Vadnais, and I'm the Student Success and Outreach Librarian at UMass and the University of Massachusetts Libraries. I hope I'm affectionately known on campus, the purple hair librarian at umass.edu. As a proud first-gen low-income student, I think in my role, it's very important that students are able to get a hold of me and get access to me. And so I want to make it as easy as possible and also be as approachable as possible so students do not need to worry about speaking to me or reaching out to me.
Thank you. Okay, so we are going to jump right into our questions. Our first question today is, what does the concept of mentorship mean to you? And why is it important to seek out, especially for first-generation college students?
So looking back on my kind of path and trajectory, I just had a lot of really pivotal and amazing people that kind of helped me on the path to where I am today. I probably didn't know it was mentoring at the time. It was more informal, but I had met certain people that kind of inspired me to go to college. I had never thought of college. No one had in my household had been. And so I was not, that was just not something I was thinking about. And then I became very close to a friend who was applying to Mount Holyoke at the time. And she encouraged me, and maybe there was a little pushing involved to apply at UMass. And I did, and I got in, which is amazing. And I think mentoring is just so important because whether it's informal or formal, because speaking to someone who's already been through it, or people who have more experience than you in something, I think can help alleviate some of the fears, the anxiety. I know throughout my life, it's always been very helpful to know that other people are going through it. You know, there's something nice about, you know, when you're first gen, I think you often feel like, oh, it must just be me. And these other people get kind of, you know, a cheat sheet to this. And, you know, I don't have my parents encouraging me to join RSOs and things like that. And so I think seeking out people who are either in similar situations or in fields that you might want to go into are so powerful, so enlightening, and just so powerful. You know, like I said, I happened to meet my friend at the time, and, you know, I had, like I said, no intention to go to college. And she, you know, encouraged me, sometimes enticing me to her house under the guise of fun to work on my college essay. But, you know, and if it wasn't for her, I don't think I would actually be here speaking to you, because she, you know, kind of both her parents were not first gens, they were both teachers. And so, you know, it was just a given she was going to go to college, and, you know, and she was very academically, you know, inclined to do that, and to, you know, where I wasn't. And so my grades weren't the best in high school. And that's why I think it's important for mentors and other first gens to be in academia, because we need all those voices. Like, we need everyone's opinion, and maybe people who haven't been represented in the past because this wasn't a path that their family had chose. And so I think, like I said, I've done formal and informal, and they've all been rewarding. Like I said, I think it helps to know you're not the only one, that you're not the first one to feel these things, that your feelings are valid. And like I said, I just feel, I often give tours and information out to students about the libraries, you know, and I'll say, you know, ask questions. If you weren't in college, you would not be, if you knew everything, you wouldn't be in college. So ask questions, because I can tell you right now, there's probably 3 shy, quiet kids that are so thankful that you asked that question because they're too afraid to. So I just think putting yourself out there, meeting with people that are different than you, or, or might have like the path, and the, you know, whatever you want to go into. So say you're a psychology major, reach out to someone in psychology, see why they chose it and get more information. And I just think it just helps in a way that I don't think you can do it just going on Google and looking for things. There's something about meeting with someone who's went through that, who has that experience that they can share with you, that may just be enlightening and may just spark that, like, oh, I can do it. So again, I think it's such an important thing. Like I said, formal, informal. I hope that even students can view me on campus as someone they can go to as a resource to ask questions about. And I encourage it, if someone watches this and is also a first gen. It can be scary. It can be very, very scary and intimidating, and you can feel that you're not supposed to be in certain spots and things like that. But once you talk to more people, you'll find that your experience is probably not as individual to yourself as it really is, that this is something other people have faced. And I just think it's immeasurable how much a mentoring relationship can help.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. I'm thinking maybe at the end of this video, we can share your contact information if anybody wants to reach out.
Oh, that would be fabulous.
I know it's all over campus, and I have your business card, but just in case anybody is watching this and wants to reach out directly
That would
right
be
after
great.
watching this. Also, I think you bring up a really interesting point that we haven't talked about in this series yet, which is that our friends and our peers can be mentors as well. I think it's so important to realize that, even if it's an informal thing, we can be so inspired and learn so much from the people around us who are having similar experiences, whether we've been talking about it or not.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important to talk about. Um, do you want to elaborate at all on the role that mentorship has played in your life, whether talking about this friend who is applying to Mount Holyoke and invited you over under the guise of fun, or any other mentor that has formally or informally helped to shape who you are today and where you are?
Yeah. So my friend who I'd met kind of after high school, so I had taken a break. That's another thing. I took a break after high school and college, and I was working at a local supermarket. Not my dream job. Wasn't horrible, but so I literally was like, I'm just gonna try this college thing. Like, that's about as much thought went into it. And I'm kind of glad, because I'm an anxious person. So I am kind of shocked that I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to try this college thing for 4 years. We'll see what happens. Um, and what's actually kind of interesting is during the pandemic, it wasn't necessarily the pandemic that made me do it, but I had been thinking about, I don't think that this person that I'm no longer friends with knew the impact that her and her family had on my life. Like, there is no, like I said, she would say, come over, we're gonna go swimming. And it was like, before we swim, let's write a paragraph. And like I said, I only applied to UMass. Thankfully, I think taking time off maybe showed that I was a little more interested. And so I actually did some of my librarian work, and on Google, and found her married name, and blindly mailed a letter to her, and said, I just wanted to thank you. Like, I don't think I'd be the person I am today if I hadn't crossed paths with you and met you, because I think I'd probably, in nothing wrong, I'd probably still be in my hometown, maybe working at that local supermarket, maybe manager, who knows. But, and I thanked her, and it was so touching to get back, because she said her and her family had no doubt that I would ever be super successful, and they saw it in me. And, and so sometimes it's even nice, like you said, just friends and people you come in contact with, just how much, they really do impact you. And even maybe something I say or do will impact someone. You never know. And so, like I said, I emailed them, or I wrote them a letter, and they replied back, and it was just amazing to kind of reconnect. And, because I've given a lot of thought as I've gotten older, like I don't, I would not have been here if it wasn't for her and her family who were like, oh no, do this will be fun. And it was. UMass was great. And then beyond that, once I came to UMass, I would have to say a lot of the staff that I worked with at the library were great mentors. I had 3 staff members that treated us very well. They respected us. We were part of the team. I never felt like as a student that I was somehow, less or, different. And they were also helpful in, being honest with me and kind of explaining their path and how they got to where they were. And so, like I said, a lot of my mentoring has been informal, and I didn't really even know it was mentoring until I look back at it. But it's great. So definitely take advantage of the people you meet and what you can kind of receive from those relationships, because the insight, the non-isolation of feeling like, oh my God, someone else actually, really felt like this, and so I had a lot at where I've worked as a student. And then I love the library so much that I tried to get a job there for a while after I graduated, and then worked there kind of since, and then have went back to graduate school, which I never thought. I mean, you probably tell some of my high school teachers I have a master's. I would love to know what they'd say, because I was a little bit unmotivated as a student, because again, I wasn't thinking about college. So when you're young, you think you know everything. And so it was just, like I said, it was helpful. And then as a librarian, I've been in professional mentoring groups, which has been very helpful. The first one, I think, was just when I was deciding if I wanted to in fact go to library school, and is this something I'd want to pursue? It's, academics can be expensive, and so is this something that I really do want to? And I really love students so much that I was just like, I want to be more challenged, and I want to help them more than I could in my current staff role at the time. And so I had a mentor for that, which was amazing. She was very helpful my first semester of grad school, which was quite discombobulating to say the least, because I had went to school in olden times. And so now here we are, hybrid in computers and content management systems, where I talked to my teacher through it. Like it was kind of, like George Jetson. So, and then since becoming a librarian at UMass, and in my current role, I've had other mentoring relationship. And again, it's just, you get someone who's already been there, who already has navigated the waters, who knows, like, this is the person you talk to when you really want to get something done, and it's like, you can't even put a price on it. Like, it's just so valuable to have someone who's been through it, who's walked that path, tell you, so that your path can be a little less bumpy. And I think, like I said, I know it can be hard. I was a very shy student. Like, people might not believe that now, but in college I was very shy, and I, reach out, make these connections, send an email, see if someone wants to have a coffee, or just, maybe sit in the procrastination station cafe and, just talk about something that they're kind of wondering about. Seek it out, because really I don't think there's a downside. And the worst someone says is, they can't. But it never hurts to ask. Let other people say no to you. Don't ever say no to yourself. And so like I said, I've just had some really amazing people in my life who, like I said, looking at, I've done very well for myself from being a, little girl from my hometown. And it really was the people I met along the way. It was, I did a lot of the work, I wrote those papers. But yeah, it's just do it, because you won't be sorry. Definitely, get over that fear, and reach out to people that you think you may benefit from having a relationship with.
Thank you so much. You actually just answered my final question, which is, When should we start seeking out mentorship, and what's the best way to do so? If you had to choose one top piece of advice for helping first-gen students especially seek mentorship, um, what would it be? And something I hear coming up is that like it doesn't have to be a formal thing, and I think that can be really scary to a lot of people.
Yes.
So what's like your number one piece of advice for just connecting with people and asking advice and for support?
Yeah. Like I said, don't, from someone who used to be too like shy, where I definitely probably lost out on some things, or maybe things I'll never even know what I missed out on. Just do it. Trust me, I, from working at UMass as long as I have, there are so many, and I'm talking to Sasha too, there are so many amazing people at UMass who really do truly care about students. Do not underestimate that. So, maybe you'll ask somebody and they might not be that interested. That's okay. That's okay. It happens. Seek out those people, but like you said, do not undervalue friends. I mean, even students I went to school with, a lot of the students, so I didn't know the term first gen until many years later. And I was so proud to find out. I was like, I probably ran through the office being like, I'm a first gen. Like I never knew. And it's like, you learn resilience and you learn skills that, because you have to, because you're not given maybe advice. And a lot of the people I went to school with in undergrad at UMass went to college. So I learned a lot from them because, they'd say, oh, my dad said I need to get involved in student SGA. Well, what's SGA? Oh, Student Government Association. Like, why would you want to do that? Oh, you're a political science major. So it, again, you really can get, as a librarian, I shouldn't say this, but you can get information anywhere and from anyone. And you never know where it will come from and who will be super valuable when you look back on your life. I mean, I'm a little more than halfway through, look back on your life to see who really did, what things kind of made you kind of change your path and stuff. So, don't be shy. The worst that someone can say is no. It's not rejection. They may be busy. There are a lot of people very busy on this campus, but just seek it out and seek it wherever you can. And again, I do not mind being a resource on campus for other students, because you'll maybe learn from my bips and bobbles, because I'm sure my path was not, our journeys are never straight. And so, that's okay. And sometimes you may try something and you're like, that is not what I thought it was from what I learned in high school. Why we think 18-year-olds should know what they want to be when they grow up is kind of crazy to me. And so, ask. You have a gigantic campus. You have 5 colleges. Find people, seek them out. Even if you just end up having coffee every once in a while, you never know what that relationship may do to your journey and your trajectory and where you may see yourself. So I kind of meandered here. I did not want to be a librarian when I grew up. I knew librarians, but again, I worked, I was mentored a lot from my friends. So I went to UMass. I was mentored a lot by the people I work with. And I was like, libraries are the best. I want to help people. This is the greatest. And then I worked at UMass, and then, I was like, oh, I want to be a librarian. I went to grad school, and now I'm the purple hair librarian at UMass.edu. And, when I get emails from students who reach out to me about even random campus things, it's like, it's working. And again, what is the point of my position if I'm not there to help students who need it? So, so yes, I would love if you want to include any of my information in this video, please, if you want to reach out to me as a dipping your feet into the mentoring pool, I can make it nice and fun, and then give you advice on how to do others if you would like. But thank you so much. This has been fantastic to get to do, and I really appreciate being asked.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Annette. We will put your contact information everywhere that we post this video. And what's your email address, just so we have it here?
purplehairlibrarian@umass.edu.
Perfect. Thank you so much again, Annette. It's been lovely talking to you. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here.
Thank you. And thank you so much for asking. Have a good day.
You too.